On this edition of Good Day DePaul, faculty diversity at DePaul. Is it measuring up?
Press coverage of the Trump administration. Some are concerned about new policies.
And the music of Johann Sebastian Bach. It comes to DePaul. I'm Vivian Manson.
And I'm Morgan Kirsch. And this is Good Day DePaul.
DePaul has issued its annual report on faculty diversity. The report says DePaul's faculty diversity does not reflect the diversity of the university's student body, but it also says DePaul's diversity metrics align with peer institutions and national data. The report is based on the faculty composition last fall. The biggest gap is among Hispanics. 20% of the students were Hispanic, yet only 8% of the full-time faculty members were Hispanic. There's a smaller gap among Asians and Blacks. 9% of the students at DePaul are Black, but only 7% of full-time teachers are Black. Among Asians, 11% of students are Asian, but just 8% of faculty. The report calls for improved faculty recruitment efforts.
The Trump administration has taken major action against an American university. The administration canceled about $400 million in grants and contracts to Columbia University in New York. The reason? Trump officials claim Columbia failed to protect Jewish students from harassment. A Columbia official says the university will work with the government to try and restore the funding.
It's called the White House Press Pool. Its purpose is to make sure the president is always being covered by the news media. But like many other things in the new Trump administration, it's running into obstacles. Good Day DePaul's Aaron Gessert explains.
Since he was first elected in 2016, Donald Trump has repeatedly labeled news outlets he disagrees with as fake news.
CNN's fake news. I don't take questions.
As far as BuzzFeed, which is a failing pile of garbage.
I'm not a big fan of AP, so maybe it was an incorrect statement.
Now, his administration will be calling the shots on which reporters get access to the presidential press pool.
As you all know, for decades, a group of D.C.-based journalists, the White House Correspondents Association, has long dictated which journalists get to ask questions of the President of the United States in these most intimate spaces. Not anymore.
Chris Bury, a DePaul journalism professor and former ABC News correspondent, says this is an attempt by the Trump administration to control the media.
This is a way for the Trump administration to pick and choose its favorite reporters and banish ones who might ask difficult questions.
The White House press pool allows a small group of reporters access to places like the Oval Office and Air Force One that cannot accommodate hundreds of journalists. Historically, an independent group, the White House Correspondents Association, made these decisions. This shift in precedent comes shortly after the Associated Press was barred from presidential events over its refusal to use Gulf of America in its reporting.
These are danger signs of a president who seems to have authoritarian tendencies. One of the first things that authoritarians do is seize control of the press. We're not there yet, but these are warning signs.
For some aspiring to become reporters, like Lucia Preziosi, she feels that the only way the public can truly be informed is if reporters ask those tough questions.
Presidents and people in such positions of power, the President of the United States is the most powerful man in the world, arguably. He deserves a little bit of scrutiny and some tough questions to really show that he is adequate in leading the American people. And if we just have people asking him these easy, lowball questions, what's the point?
The Associated Press is not the only outlet that has been barred. Reuters and HuffPost were not allowed to cover Trump's first cabinet meeting.
When you have a president who only wants fawning, supportive coverage, he is destroying the role of the media, which is to bring Americans independent truth so they can make up their own minds.
A federal judge refused to reinstate access for the Associated Press, but did recommend the White House consider if their actions were appropriate. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Aaron Gessert.
Taiwan. It's an island in the Pacific, but it's crucial to much of the world. And now the people of Taiwan are concerned about the workings of the Trump administration. Good Day DePaul's Bing Wong explains.
At his first address to the joint session of Congress of his second term, President Donald Trump singled out Taiwan.
Just yesterday, Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest in the world, most powerful in the world, has a tremendous amount, 97% of the market, announced a $165 billion investment to build the most powerful chips on Earth right here in the USA.
Taiwan is the largest semiconductor chip producer in the world. It's crucial to global technology. They supply chips for corporations such as Apple and Nvidia and for US defense. A democratic and self-governed island, Taiwan has also relied on the United States for military support against potential threats from China. China claims Taiwan as its own territory and has not ruled out the use of force to annex the island. Defense experts say Taiwan falling to China could mean a loss of US influence in Asia. But after Zelensky and Trump's tense press conference in the Oval Office, where the US president did not offer security guarantees to Ukraine, Taiwan is anxious about its security.
And he happens to be right about
from the very beginning of the
James Lin, a professor of Asian history at the University of Washington, says people in Taiwan are surprised by how Trump conducts diplomacy.
I think this must be alarming for observers in Taiwan. And the United States, of course, as we know, has historically been the strongest ally of Taiwan. So that their strongest ally has demonstrated that really their foreign policy objectives and their method of doing diplomacy has changed. I think must be causing some new conversations to emerge.
Since 1950, the US has sold Taiwan nearly $50 billion in defense weapons, with the majority coming after George H.W. Bush became president. Trump himself said in a July 2024 interview with Bloomberg he thought the self-ruled island should pay the US to guarantee Taiwan's safety.
Taiwanese reliance on the United States is so much higher than what most countries need. And I think Ukraine is really one of the few countries that relies on the United States as much as Taiwan does.
Taiwan currently spends around 2.5% of their GDP on defense and is looking to increase that amount. Taiwan will also invest $100 billion to develop semiconductors in the US. As tensions in the region grow, Taiwan's quest for security guarantees continues to be a focal point in international relations. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Bing Wong.
Many in the DePaul community ride the L to go to and from campus, and some of them have been lucky enough to meet a unique CTA employee. Good Day DePaul's Francesca Corona has her story.
Good afternoon, passengers.
The Armitage Brown Line station was more than just a transit stop this past Friday. It was a site of a heartfelt farewell. Friends, colleagues, and community members gathered to celebrate the retirement of Janet Martin, a beloved CTA station manager who's been a familiar face to commuters for over 3 decades. CTA President Nora Learson was in attendance.
Janet Martin, I mean, look at this, right? This is so moving to see the impact you have made, Janet, on this neighborhood. You have really gone above and beyond, and it's so clear by what you have inspired for everyone to come out today and what we see here today.
After a 32-year career with the CTA, the beloved customer service representative officially retired on Friday. In a resolution co-sponsored by Alderman Brian Hopkins and Alderman Timmy Knutson, February 28th will forever be known as Janet Martin Day in the city of Chicago.
And signed by the mayor of the city of Chicago, declaring February 28th as Janet Martin Day.
Martin started her career at the CTA as a conductor and ended up working on multiple lines. When Martin moved to the Brown Line, she started at the Wellington station and alternated between Southport and Armitage. Later, she was appointed as a flagger, but the love she gets from Armitage riders drew her back to customer service. Martin developed a reputation as someone who would go above and beyond to help help and greet riders at the Armitage Brown Line station. There were no casual encounters or off days.
We've lived by the Brown Line for a while. We love seeing Janet. She always is smiling. It makes us smile. And just how she was talking about how she embraces life and lives every day to the fullest. That's something that we value too. Yeah, she's a great lady.
Brian Comer, president of the Sheffield Neighborhood Association, had the idea for a send-off party shortly after learning of Martin's retirement last fall. Martin received a slew of gifts that included framed plaques from CTA colleagues, gift bags from neighbors, and half a dozen bouquets.
And whereas Janet Martin knows the name of every dog, baby, toddler, being walked by the Armitage Brown Line station while greeting every parent, dog walker, caretaker, adult, and child with a loving, "Hey honey, how you doing?" as they go about their day. Whereas every person who uses the Armitage Brown Line station has counted Janet as one of their family over the last 25 years. And the community is incredibly sad she is retiring. But we are thrilled for her, her family, and all the new people she will meet and deliver her love and bright sunshine to in her retirement.
More than 100 people gathered for Martin under the Brown Line station.
This place has been my home for the last, 29 years. I enjoyed every bit of what I have learned, what I have done, people that I have ran into, people that I have comforted, children and their new babies, and I'm talking about the mothers when they bring their babies for me to see. I love every bit.
For Martin, retiring doesn't mean stopping work. She plans to help care for babies and older people at hospitals, something she said she always wanted to do. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Francesca Corona.
Next on Good Day DePaul, the music of Johann Sebastian Bach.
It will be celebrated at DePaul. Stay with us.
I think we should split up. Why? I want to meet new people who need me. Meet new people? You're my left kidney. You only need one of me, man, and you have two. There are plenty of people out there who are dying because they don't have one. Really? You'll be giving the gift of life. I could be a hero. Yeah, it's all win-win up here, buddy. Why don't you go and save a life, pal? You're doing the right thing.
Johann Sebastian Bach. He was one of the most influential composers and musicians in classical music history. Now his music is coming to DePaul. Good Day DePaul's Nathan Wheatgraff has details.
A new classical musical organization called Bach in the City is taking up residence at St. Vincent de Paul Church in Lincoln Park. Its inaugural concert will be held on March 21st. The concert will feature works by Johann Sebastian Bach and Giovanni Gabrieli and coincides with the anniversary of Bach's birthday. Bach in the City is the successor to the renowned Bach Week Festival in Evanston, which ran for 50 seasons from 1974 until spring of last year. Richard Webster, the composer, organist, music director, and conductor who helped initially launch the Bach Week Festival, will serve in the same capacity for Bach in the City.
We have this wonderful new home that is acoustically spectacular, and we're taking advantage of it in our very first concert coming up on March 21st. We're doing a concert entitled Bach and the Venetians.
Webster's artistic partner in this project is St. Vincent de Paul's Director of Music and Community Development, Robert Beatty, who led collaboration between the church and Bach in the City.
With the upcoming concert on March 21st, in addition to Bach programming, which people have come to expect with this organization, you'll also experience music of Gabrieli. Gabrieli, of course, was famous for music at St. Mark's Cathedral in Venice, Italy, where he featured music around the space using different galleries and niches within the cathedral itself. So you'll hear music presented antiphonally and with choirs back and forth, with choir mixed with brass choir, and really taking advantage of this space in a very unique way that you wouldn't otherwise hear.
The March 21st concert will include works for chorus and brass ensemble and has been described as a pilot project intended to gauge community and donor interest. next. Performing in the concert are the Bach in the City Chorus alongside the Gaudette Brass Quintet and organist Jacob Reed. Tickets are now available at bachinthecity.org, where more information about the organization and upcoming concert is also posted. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Nathan Wiegraff.
In sports, the DePaul men's basketball team closed out its regular season by winning its last 2 games over Providence and Georgetown. The Blue Demons ended up with 4 wins in the Big East, a big jump over last year when they went winless in the conference.
The DePaul women's basketball season is over. They lost to Xavier in the first round of the Big East tournament. The Blue Demons finished 8-10 in the Big East and 13-19 overall.
The DePaul softball team had a rough start to their Big East season, getting swept by Butler in a 3-game series. They're now 10-11 on the season.
The DePaul women's tennis team is on a big-time roll. They've won 5 in a row. They're now 9-5 overall and 4-0 in Big East play.
The DePaul men's tennis team split its last 2 matches, beating Davidson but losing to UNC Charlotte. The Blue Demons are now 9-7 on the season.
Coming up, a DePaul student group brings the stage alive.
That story when we return.
2004 Skateboard Championship.
High school, moped.
How about you, Slim? Anything?
Something.
Looks like Slim's got a little paper cut.
It's nothing.
Come on, man. You know I'm gonna make you tell me.
Hey, kidney transplant.
When, dude? I didn't know you were sick.
I was donating it.
Someone in your family?
You gave your kidney to a complete stranger?
Yeah, saved his life.
Wow. All right. Everyone can save a life by being a living organ donor on matchingdonors.com.
A DePaul theater group recently staged a unique production. I was there and got an up-close look at this special play.
Lover never finds my grave to me.
DePaul University's theater club, Blue Demon Theater, or BDT, recently performed their rendition of William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. The romantic comedy follows protagonist Viola as she disguises herself as a man, sparking romantic chaos and a love triangle. This production embraces its queer roots, exploring Viola's journey with gender and identity. Ope Dina, director of Twelfth Night, celebrates the strong presence of LGBTQ+ actors in the show.
It's so great to just sort of have like that underlying nuance in the show where it's like, this is a queer version of 12th Night brought to you by queer people.
Dominic Rinker, president of BDT and producer of 12th Night, says he's never seen a cast practice with such dedication.
I would just walk through the student center and see like this couple in the show rehearsing, and then I'd go to the dining hall and see this couple rehearsing.
Instead of taking place in a fictional kingdom during the 1600s, Dina adapted the 12th Night storyline to fall during the Roaring 20s, complete with music from authentic restored records.
It's like this specific time period in history in which like specific conservative rules were just lax, especially for the 1900s, in which queer culture was at an all-time high, Black culture was at an all-time high.
Rinker praises Dina for her more modern interpretation of the show.
This show just needs a really strong and clear vision, and I really think Ope did a great job with that.
In the show's storyline, Viola poses in society as a man while her twin brother is lost and presumed dead. Dina prioritized acting ability over appearances when casting the lead actors who would play the twins.
They don't look alike because I don't care about that at all. I care more about story.
Bo Crow, who played protagonist Viola, appreciated Dina's casting approach as an actor with dwarfism.
I've dealt with typecasting and things like that, and people worrying that it's not going to be as accurate if I'm a certain character because of my disability. And so being able to just be seen for my skills and not for my physical appearance was very unexpected and very joyful.
12th Night marked Dina's directorial debut and showcased the acting talents of several freshman DePaul students, making it a night of many firsts for the cast.
A lot of us are newbies together because I'm a newbie as well. And so there's a lot of connection emotionally to the characters and to like us as a group because it's our first time getting to do this.
For Crow, a trans man, playing Viola made a profound impact.
She's made me accept more feminine sides of myself and made me feel more comfortable with who I am and how I act and how I look and things like that. And she made me realize that being different is completely fine.
Dina hopes the show was an escape from people's everyday lives.
I just want it to be joyful so that when people watch it, they're like, finally a break from everything that's outside in the world.
Krause says the show is universally relatable.
Even if you're not trans or even if you don't have issues with gender identity, everybody kind of worries about who they really are and like what they're going to be and if they are good enough.
BDT's next large theatrical show will be Bright Star for the spring musical. For Good Day DePaul, I'm Morgan Kirsch.
That's all for this week's edition of Good Day DePaul. You can keep up with us by visiting our Vimeo channel at Good Day DePaul or by going to goodday.depaul.edu.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
And if you have any news tips, message us through the Good Day DePaul social media channels.
Thanks for watching. I'm Morgan Kirsch.
And I'm Vivian Manson. Have a good day, DePaul.